The Umbrella Academy just can't seem to catch a break, it seems. Especially with the way Season 3 ended. One can only assume what adventures the upcoming 4th season has in store for us. That's if there's one at all. However, in the case that there's a 4th season, we have to talk about the way things were left. Here are 10 burning questions we have after the Umbrella Academy's 3rd season finale. Starting at number 10, where's all that money coming from? We know that the Umbrella Academy siblings are fairly broke when they first arrive at the Hotel Obsidian, right? In fact, it was a big comedic sequence when they all rusted for spare change and anything valuable to offer for a few nights' stay at the hotel. They dedicated a whole scene to establishing that the Hargreeves siblings are broke. So then why are they able to afford menial luxuries and privileges like getting their hair professionally cut, getting regular cabs back and forth through the city, buying a whole new suit, and Obsidian's seemingly never-ending alcohol supply? Now, obviously, some of that could definitely be explained away by Allison's specific set of powers, or Five's general sneakiness. But how much suspension of our disbelief is actually required here? Is Allison regularly abusing her superpower? Since none of them have real jobs in this parallel reality, guess we'll just have to wait for the next season to see if our favorite superhero siblings are also experienced bank robbers on the side. Number 9. Will the Umbrella Academy get their powers back? Well, considering the general concept of foresight, this might seem like a stupid question. Of course, the siblings will get their superhuman abilities back. But can you honestly believe that given this isn't your regular superhero show? After all, we only got a glimpse of what their lives might look like in a reality where their powers are the main focus of their personalities. And while some of the siblings were super happy about this new potential life they could lead, where they are just as normal as everyone else, we know that not all the siblings believe that. Some rely heavily on their superpowers. Five, for one, who has seen more in 2 weeks than he had in a post-apocalyptic 80 or so years, seems like he wouldn't be too happy with the loss. We're just going to have to wait and see. But if season 4 of the show does happen, there's definitely going to be a conflict surrounding their powers. In any case, we're just looking for the catch, aka the moment the siblings might feel the need to get their powers back. Number 8. The Sparrow names. We can't help but wonder, trivial as it may seem, about how the Sparrow Academy got their names. After all, in season 1, it was made pretty clear that their android mother Grace was the one who gave the original Hargreeves children their names. So it'd make sense that the Sparrow Academy kids were also christened by Grace. But there's a slight catch here. The Grace we see operating in the Sparrow Academy seems much less lifelike and motherly than she was in the alternate timeline. This could be due to a number of reasons, but the fact remains, the Grace from season 3 of the show is definitely more of an assistant than an actual maternal figure. So does this mean that Reginald Hargreeves sat down with the kids and decided to name them? It certainly paints an amusing picture. Pogo could have helped name them, maybe. Even so, Ben was named Ben in both timelines, so that could suggest a predestined providence of sorts. Perhaps it was Grace who named the kids in both the timelines, but gradually got booted out of the role as the kids grew up, subjected to Reginald's whims, without Pogo around to humanize them. Number 7. Five's strange tattoo can't avert the future. Okay, so despite getting a lot of screen time, and we do mean a lot, Five's past or future, some may say, is still more of a mystery, or at least it seems that way. Each season we may get more into Five's past via flashback scenes, and it may seem like we're on our way to a fully cohesive storyline, but then a new flashback makes us question everything we know. This season in particular was big for Five's character, as the plot device used was a future version of him he could not recognize. Five saw himself die with an amputated arm and that mysterious tattoo on his chest. Our question here has to do with Five getting the tattoo himself when he so desperately wanted to avoid the future he saw. Why would he close the loop when we know him to be a rebellious kind when it comes to the rules of time travel? And let's take a moment to talk about the commission. When exactly would Five establish the organization, given that he would have a very short window where he could potentially make that happen? It just seems pretty implausible, given that the universe rebooted almost instantaneously. Number 6. Klaus's newfound immorality. Here's the thing. Klaus's personal growth was a big part of this season, and we're all super excited to see where else the writers take his arc from here. He spent a pretty big chunk of his season training under Reginald, after all. But one has to wonder if all that training that Reginald gave Klaus, supposedly to reach his full potential, had an ulterior motive. After all, we do know that Reginald isn't the kind of loving, selfless father Klaus thought him to be this season. We know he definitely had other plans for number 4, so one has to wonder what benefit did helping Klaus serve Reginald? After all, that was never answered this season. Number 5. Why would Reginald make a deal with Allison? On the surface, you might assume it to be a pretty obvious path to take. Allison, as we know, has almost entirely crossed over to the dark side this season. She hasn't exactly been a paragon of righteousness, to say the least. She's also mourning the loss of both her husband and daughter, so she's also a very vulnerable and easily manipulated target. Of course, we also know that Allison might have been promised her family by Reginald, but we don't really know why Reginald would need her at all. She isn't exactly the siblings' favorite at the moment, so either Reginald read the room real bad, or she was the one who approached him. Number 4. Why didn't Hargreeves know where the 7 bells were? Okay, so you expect us to believe that Reginald oversaw the construction of the Hotel Obsidian down to the T and financed the whole operation, and yet he couldn't figure out where the 7 bells were supposed to be? He had to wait for the siblings to figure it out. It just doesn't make sense. Of course, it's possible that while he oversaw the construction, he never actually tried to look for the symbol. Even so, it's weird that his entire life's work led to this final moment, and he was unable to figure it out when a bunch of his emotionally unstable kids did it in a matter of a few days. This could very well be just an error the writers overlooked, or just didn't deem it important enough to explain it to the viewers just yet, but it certainly makes us feel curious. Number 3. The Jennifer incident. This season, more than ever, focused on OG Ben's death and the cause of that tragedy. Ben, throughout the season, is mentioned as the best of them, so it certainly makes us curious about his death, one that was never explained. This time, though, we do know that someone called Jennifer was a part of his demise, and we know that Sparrow Ben knows that person, so we have to wonder, what happened there? Hopefully the next season answers the question. Number 2. Abigail Hargreeves, right? Like, where did she come from? We know of her existence because of a scene in the last season, but even so, there's been a woman in a cryogenic container on the moon with Luther all the time? What's the story with this Abigail person? Is she also a tentacled alien involved romantically with Reginald? Because we have to say, that's just an unfortunate visual altogether. But gross tentacle romances aside, we have so many questions about who Abigail is, and if she's been the mastermind this whole time, steering Reginald along, waiting to come back and be an even worse antagonist, or is she just a regular gal who fell in love with a bad boy? In either case, what's her arc? Number 1. What's the deal with the Hargreeves universe? Like, sure, Reginald's a bit of a pretentious narcissist, but even so, going as far to name a whole world after himself? That's a bit much, even in our books. Why would he do that when he could have created an entire world united to his needs? Why would he go for modernized corporate greed? But then again, could we have expected anything else from the monocle-wearing, the ends justify the means guy? In either case, we bet he's not going to be happy with his decision when it's ridiculously easy for his annoying kids to track him once something goes inevitably wrong with the Hargreeves world. It makes us wonder, though, about his motives in this new world. And that's all for this video. Let us know some of the questions you might want answered in the Umbrella Academy Season 4. If you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by pressing the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.